Okay, on part 50, we were getting into some phone records and photos and things he was putting into his secret calculator app. So going straight into part 51, we will just pick right up where we left off on 50. So we are still on July the 22nd. And at 13:48 hours, and that's 1:48 p.m., Chris searched Google for Spanish dancing near me, and red wine made in Argentina, and the Cheesecake Factory. 15:25 hours, Shanann called Chris and she held an 18-minute conversation with him. She called back afterwards and she held an additional 21-minute conversation. Okay, we're going into July the 23rd. And at 5:40 a.m., Shanann called Chris and she held a 2-minute conversation. 8:25 a.m., Chris transferred an image of Kessinger into his secret calculator app. 17:02 hours. Chris called Nicole Atkinson briefly. 17:36 hours. Shanann called Chris and held a 9-minute conversation. 18:02 hours. Chris searched Google for clean eating restaurants near me and near Erie. Watts also searched 24 Carat Bistro and the Lazy Dog restaurant. Going into July the 24th, 5:54 a.m., Chris called Shanann and held a 5-minute conversation. 8:12 a.m., Chris transferred a nude image of Nicole into his secret calculator app. 13:17 hours. Kessinger searched Google for man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife. So see, she is referring to Shanann as his wife and curious if others around Google had anything to give her on that certain search. Now keep in mind, this was July the 23rd. This is before Chris even went to Carolina. 15:49 hours. Shanann called Chris and held nearly a 10-minute conversation. 16:06 to 16:45 hours. Sandy Rusek, Shanann's mother, called Chris 12 different times. She connected on one occasion and held roughly nearly 30 minutes of conversations. 17:30 hours. Shanann asked Chris if he was alive, and Chris replied, "The tire light came on when I was leaving King Soopers last night. Got the tire air back up, spent a lot of time looking for anything in it, nothing at all." Shanann responded, "You could have texted me back or answered. Thought something had happened, but you don't care about others' feelings or think you're with another girl or worse. No consideration for others." 17:28 hours. Chris searched Google for Victoria's Secret at the Orchard Town Center. 18:02. Shanann told Chris, "I realized during this trip what's missing in our relationship. It's only one-way emotions and feelings. I can't come back like this. I need you to meet me halfway. You don't consider others at all, nor think about others' feelings." And Chris replied that he was sorry and he loves her. Shanann responded, "I try to give you space, but while you are working and living the bachelor life, I'm carrying our 3rd child and fighting with our 2 kids daily and trying to work and make money. It's not hard texting love you and miss you. If you don't mean it, then I get it. But we need to talk. I kept looking at my phone all night and no response from you. Like seriously, we didn't just start dating yesterday. We've been together for 8 years and we have 2.5 kids together. 2010 hours. Shanann called Chris and held a 17-minute conversation. Okay, going into 5:36 a.m. Chris made an unanswered call to Shanann. 2 minutes later, Shanann called him back and held nearly 11-minute conversation. 8:41 a.m. until 12:07 p.m. Chris searched Google on the following topics. Now keep in mind this is July the 25th. 8:41 until 12:07. Over 3 hours he was doing these kinds of searches. When to say I love you. When to say I love you for the first time in a new relationship. What do you feel when someone tells you they love you? How does it feel when someone says I love you? Okay, now these searches here is very interesting to me. And the reason I say that is, if you will remember, in Nicole's interviews, she was very adamant that Chris was the one that was moving so fast. He was the one liking super fast forward, and she was the one telling him, she wanted to take it slow. Okay, keep in mind, 3 days before this, she had already texted. Man I'm, seeing says he's going to leave his wife, Okay, now Chris is just showing that he is just now starting to do these kind of searches about things about relationships, right? She's already started it like a few days ago or even before that because she's already been bombarding him with these nudes, right? So it's very evident from the phone records that it wasn't really him from what I'm seeing. That was the one that was actually moving relationship mode first. Unless there was something being said that, of course, they didn't Google, which it looks like they Google everything, right? It looks like they Google everything and they're very adamant about sending each other these pictures and so on and so forth. But the ones of Chris here, he actually Googles when to say I love you. Okay, so that tells me on July the 25th that he is like, when should I tell her? When should I do this, right? And he goes on to also Google when to say I love you for the first time in a new relationship. So he's asking Google when he should just do this, when he should tell her I love you, right? That is the way I'm getting this. That's what I'm picking up on this search. And then, so odd, but it's very odd search, especially with him being a husband and a father. But it also tells you something else. What do you feel when someone tells you that they love you? How does it feel when someone says I love you? Okay, now here's what I get from that. I get that she has told him that she loves him, and he don't know if he has this certain feeling, because I'm thinking that when he Googled this, when to say I love you and when to say I love you for the first time in a new relationship, he probably got answers like, if you'll get this certain feeling, if you start feeling this certain way or whatever, Well, let's just see what today, if we Google that, what it would come up that he possibly read. Okay, when I Google when to say I love you in a new relationship, this is the very first thing that pops up. You keep almost saying it or finding it on the tip of your tongue. You know your partner extremely well. You recognize your partner's flaws, but you still feel like you love them. You've had significant or meaningful experiences together. Now this does say February the 21st, 2021, so quite possibly not the exact thing he's seen. Obviously, probably not, because 3 years after the fact. But, you know, here is one that was December the 21st, 2014. It says, say it only after 2 months. Don't wait too long. Wait until you're absolutely bursting. So, you know, that's just the gist of that. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is from 8:41 a.m. till 12:07 p.m. It doesn't appear that he has already told her that, because he's even asking, when should I say it? You know, and the first time in a new relationship. And then, what am I supposed to feel when somebody tells me that? And how does it feel when someone says, I love you? So Chris is actually asking all these odd questions, but I do not feel like he had told her that yet. I do not feel like he had told her, I love you yet. However, looking into these questions, he was Google searching. I believe that yes, she had told him that. It only makes sense. Why would he search that? Okay, going on down. 6:35 hours. Shanann called Chris and held a 23-minute conversation. And during that conversation, Kessinger called Chris and left a voicemail. Following an eerily disconcerting, childlike giggle, she told Watts, I miss your face. I was just calling to say hi. Call me back. Bye. And as you see, they even said it was an eerily disconcerting, childlike giggle. So they even thought it was very odd and strange the way she did that giggle. And it is pretty pathetic. Immediately after ending his call with Shanann, Chris called Kessinger briefly. 18:31 hours. Chris searched Google for sand dunes weather. 18:58 hours. Kessinger called Chris and held a 14-minute conversation. Going into July the 26th, 5:30 a.m. 5:30 a.m. Kessinger called Watts and held a 3-minute conversation. 5:40 a.m. Watts made an unanswered call to Shanann. She returned his call 3 minutes later and they held a 5-minute conversation. 11:28 hours. Shanann called Watts and held a 6-minute conversation. 11:50 hours. Chris searched Google for GIT. I went and looked and I put GIT into Google as well. And this is the very first thing that comes up when you type in GIT. What is GIT? And as you see, I did put it in exactly as Chris had, said it, G.I.T. And there was actually 2 that caught my attention. This one, because it's just the very first thing that comes up, it says it's a global information tracker. A 3-letter command is quick and easy to say and type. The word GET is not used by any other existing Unix command. The initial working version of GET's codes was very simple, so much so that he finds it deserving of insult. An acronym for Global Information Tracking, at least when it works properly. And reading on about it, it was just pretty much saying that it is just, a quick demand. Another interesting find that I found what GET is, because it makes me wonder, did someone tell him, well, she's a GET or something? I don't know. But one of the other interesting things I found that GET is it says another word that is an insult that is seldom heard today. A GET, I was solemnly told, means a pregnant camel, while a twit is a pregnant goldfish. And of course, Git, or Wikipedia, is a software for tracking changes in any set of files, usually used for coordinating work among programmers, collaboratively developing source codes. So there's a few different things it can mean. 16:01 hours. Chris called this number, this 800 number, and he held a 4-minute conversation. I called the number and confirmed that it does connect with Chase Bank. 28 minutes later at 16:28, as he often does, Chris accessed myprepaidcenter.com. A note, I visited this website, which services universal prepaid Visa cards. The site promotes a 5% cashback incentive when used at preferred customers. So that was probably the Visa card, his gift cards from Anadarko, and he was probably maybe checking the balance on them. Looks like he called Chase Bank right before he even checked the balance on those. So he was actually probably checking how much he had in his checking account, as well as his, in case his Anadarko card or something didn't have enough. I don't know. 16:40 hours. Shanann called Chris and held an 18-minute conversation. During that 18-minute conversation, he was also transferring a nude selfie of Kessinger into his secret calculator app. 17:01 hours. Immediately afterwards, Chris calls Vivint briefly. At 17:16 hours, Watts called Vivint a second time and held a 25-minute conversation. So he was very much interested in Vivint that day. Super interested. And what was up with that? Shanann was very interested in him getting the garage door camera fixed, the sensor. Oh, maybe she was saying, you need to get that fixed. You know, if you're going to go on this trip hiking with your buddies, then you need to have that fixed so it's recording, just to make sure nothing happens at the house when you're not there. That's what I assume. You know, so I don't know. Maybe he called Vivint and just talked some smack with them. And, you know, I don't know. 18:39 hours. Chris called Shanann an additional time, holding a nearly 5-minute conversation. So he probably called her back, and he was just telling her what supposedly Vivint told him. 19:13 hours. Chris searched Google for the lazy dog in Erie. 2,000 hours. Chris visited My Prepaid Center again. So he looks for the Lazy Dog restaurant, and he goes back to the My Prepaid Center to make sure, how much money do I have on the Anadarko card? And with him contacting Chase Bank, it makes me wonder, was he taking, like, transferring money from their joint checking account and putting it onto this prepaid card he had? It's, you know, it just makes you wonder. 16:44 hours. Shanann called Chris and held an 11-minute conversation. This is on July the 27th. 20:48 hours. Chris searched Google for prices on wine bottle openers. Go to the Dollar Tree, Chris. I mean, why would you? It's just so weird. July the 28th. 2018. Chris and Kessinger spent the night at the Great Sand Dunes. 1100 hours. Chris called that number briefly. I confirmed the number list to the Valley View Hot Springs at the Orient Land Trust in the San Luis Valley. Their website boasts camping and lodging just north of the Great Sand Dunes National Park. Watts searched the internet for Rio Grande National Forest, Zapata Falls Campground, located 7 miles south of the Great Sand Dunes. He made a brief call to the campground moments later. 12:53 hours. Chris took this photograph. Metadata confirms the image was taken at the Zapata Falls Campground. In addition, he shot a brief video of the same scene. The song playing in the background is Forever Girl, a John Langston Shazam. The lyrics tend towards a ballad. 13:44 hours. Shanann made an unanswered call to Chris. He made 2 attempts to call her back roughly 10 minutes later. 14:29 until 18:55 hours. Watts took assorted photographs of the landscape at the Great Sand Dunes, and it gives the different image numbers as well as a movie or a video. Among these is a video of Kessinger speaking into the camera. Quote, "Thank you so much for coming out here with me, Christopher. I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad you're having a blast." July the 29th, 2018. 9:22 until 10:43 hours. Chris continued taking photographs of landscapes near the Great Sand Dunes, and it gives the different images. 10:55 hours. Chris told Shanann, "Finish the hike, packing up and heading home." 10:38 hours. Chris transferred images of Kessinger to include a full nude selfie into his secret calculator app. 12:36 until 14:21 hours. Shanann made 4 unanswered calls to Chris. 14:25 hours. Chris called Shanann and held a brief 2-minute conversation. Throughout the day, co-workers exchanged group text messages regarding scheduling for the following workday. Chris was uncharacteristically unresponsive. At 18:20 hours, Chris finally replied, quote, "Copy, sorry, been out of the house all day," unquote. 17:14 hours. Troy McCoy asked Chris if he was taking the following day off. Chris eventually responded, quote, "I'm working tomorrow," unquote. 17:30 hours. Shanann made 2 more unanswered calls to Chris. 17:49 hours. Having not heard from Chris, Shanann asked, quote, "I'm assuming you're safe considering it's been 3.5 hours. Chris replied, "There was a car fire at the Renaissance Festival. Traffic in Colorado Springs. Just got our car headed home." 19:24 hours. Chris answered Shanann's call and held a 14-minute conversation. 19:39 hours. Immediately afterwards, Shanann told Chris, "Sorry you're so tired, but I haven't talked to you in 48 hours, and I had a hard weekend. Glad I have you to talk to." Continuing the sarcasm, she added, "If you care." 19:49 hours. Chris replied, "I'm sorry you had a hard weekend, boo. I will make it up to you, I promise. I'm sorry. I'm out of it tonight." Shanann retorted, "It would have been nice for my husband to show interest in how the girls and I are, and the baby. I'm done begging for you to talk. See you Tuesday." And she added, "You're out of it from playing." 20:36 hours. Watts visited myprepaidcenter.com. July the 30th, 2018, 5:39. Chris called Shanann and held nearly a 6-minute conversation. 8:11 hours. Shanann sent Chris an insurance identification card issued by USAA for their 2016 Lexus RX. The effective dates are August the 15th, 2018 through February the 15th, 2019. 019 hours. Shanann sent Chris 3 images of swelling to the right ankle of one of their daughters. Her face was not captured. Chris commented, "It looks like her ankle is dislocated in that one picture." Shanann agreed and said, "She may need special shoes." 6:17 hours. Shanann called Chris and held a 19-minute conversation. 16:44 hours. Kessinger called Watts and left a voicemail. Intermixed with her creepy giggles, she asked Chris to call her back. 17:14 hours. Chris called Bobbitt and held a 10-minute conversation. 17:39 hours and 17:49 hours. Shanann asked Chris what they said. Although his call with Bobbitt ended nearly 30 minutes earlier, Chris responded that he was still on the phone resetting settings and sensitivity. "Should be good now. I will monitor it." 18:31 hours. Chris searched Google for songs by a reggae band called Through the Roots. Watts then searched lyrics to their song Down to Earth. Researching the song revealed lyrics that included, quote, "When I'm around you, I can feel peace. If I'm ever cold, I can count on you to heat me up with your presence. And at the lowest level, you can make me feel like I'm sky high." Other lyrics are quoted by Chris in a card he wrote to Kessinger on this date. 18:37 hours. Chris searched Google for a country singer named Kanan Smith and his song Love You Like That. Researching the song revealed lyrics like, "When I'm with you, I can see down the road, girl, not just the gravel one we're traveling on, girl. I'm betting that it's going to be a wild ride, but I promise that I'm going to be there by your side. I think we got another memory in the making." 18:38 hours. Chris searched Google for love letters. 19:57 hours. Chris sent a message to Shanann, quote, "Letting Dieter out and going to bed, boo. Love you." Shanann called him minutes later and they spoke briefly. July the 31st, 2018. Watts flew to North Carolina. 03:22 hours. Watts took a photograph of parking signs at Denver International Airport and sent messages, presumably to Shanann, at the airport. 04:08 hours. Watts began transferring a mass of assorted images of Kessinger and their trip to the Great Sand Dunes into his secret calculator app. They included these images numbered 523 and 26. And as you see, there is a ton of different pictures there he put in there. In addition, Watts transferred 2 videos from that trip into his secret calculator app. Both videos were shot by Watts as Kessinger surfed down a sand dune. Watts made comments like, "So damn sexy." 4:46 hours. Watts told Shanann, quote, "On the plane, love you boo," unquote. Shanann called him immediately and held a 2-minute conversation. 4:50 hours. Immediately afterwards, Shanann told Chris, "You never ever listen to me." And she asked, "How much a day?" Watts sent her the photograph of the parking signs and advised $16. Shanann asked which lot, and Chris said the East Economy lot. Shanann replied, $130 we can't spend at the beach. Shanann asked Chris to text her when he lands in Atlanta, and Chris agreed. 4:52 hours. Chris deleted Kessinger's APC Health and Safety Environmental contact from his phone. Now remember, he actually put that in there when they went on their San Diego trip. But now on his way to North Carolina, he is deleting it. 4:53 hours. Shanann gave Chris instructions on how to schedule a ride from both Lyft and Uber. 5:05 hours. Chris received a calendar alert. Flight WN656 from Denver to Atlanta. During this data extraction, Agent Ford programmed the phone to provide timestamps using UTC-6, or Mountain Standard Time. I will continue to use those timestamps and refrain from adjusting for Eastern Standard Time. This applies to timestamps found in Shanann's phone as well. 7:57 hours. Chris told Shanann that he had landed in Atlanta. Watts advised his connecting flight departs at 10:45 hours. 08:45 hours. Watts received a calendar alert. Flight to Raleigh WN 2141 and Flight WN 2141 from Atlanta to RDU. Raleigh, Denver. From Atlanta to RDU. 10:18 hours. Chris told Shanann that he just landed in Raleigh. Shanann asked him to let her know when you are coming down the escalator so I can record the girls. And Chris replied, "Okay, boo." 21:49 hours. Shanann asked Chris, "Can you set alarm for 5 and wake me, please?" Chris replied, "Yep, I got it. Love you." And Shanann reciprocated. August the 1st, 2018, 18:51 hours. Chris took assorted photographs of his children on carnival rides at the Pavilion Park in Myrtle Beach, North Carolina. Metadata. August the 2nd, 2018, 11:38 hours until 13:41 hours. A video and photographs were taken of the children playing on trampolines at the Pavilion Park. 17:41 hours. Chris transferred this image into his secret calculator app. I'm certain Chris communicated far more with Kessinger than is reflected in his phone data, perhaps facilitated through the secret calculator app. It became apparent he was receiving assorted nude images of Kessinger that she was taking by herself and sending to Chris, which he then stashed in that application to prevent Shanann from ever seeing them. 22:40 hours. Chris transferred images of Kessinger into his secret calculator app. And as you will see, there is several minutes. And see, that was when they was on the beach. And he was out shopping for souvenirs for Nicole with crystal necklaces and jewelry with crystals. And he took this picture and of course sent it to her. Did he buy this? Possibly, I don't know. But she's definitely sending him tons of nude photos while he is on the beach with his family, and it's the girls' very first time on the beach. And she is trying, in my opinion, to create chaos or keep his mind off of his family and on her. Look at all these images that she sent while he was at the beach with his family. But yet she told him to fix his marriage? Really? Does anybody truly believe that? And I know there's people out there that, defend her and that's okay if that's what you want to do. But when you see stuff like this, how can you truly defend and sit there and believe without any second thought in your mind that she really told him to fix his marriage? It's ridiculous. August the 3rd, 2018, 21:23 hours. Chris transferred even more images of Kessinger into his secret calculator app. So there again, there's even more. See, even the ones writing this transcript up and, going through these phone logs, they're like, oh my God, how many nude pictures and how many different poses can this chick be sending this married man? She even told us that she told him to fix his marriage while he was there. I mean, how come that didn't, put a light bulb on in their head that she was manipulating the hell out of him? She definitely wanted him to be reminded of what he had back there in Colorado. August the 4th, 2018. Now, as you will see, that's only just a few hours difference there from the 4th. For over 2 hours, Kessinger searched Google for wedding dresses. 0336 hours. In a lengthy message, Shanann told Chris, truth came out last night. I didn't create no dagger between you and your dad. That was done by your mom and your dad, and I won't change a thing. My daughter's life is way more important, and you better believe I wanted to say a whole lot more than I did. But I was being the bigger person and protecting Bella. I didn't tell your dad not to come to the party. I didn't tell him not to text or call your daughter on her birthday. I didn't tell him to start acting like he has only 2 grandkids instead of 4. I didn't block your family on Facebook. He did. Myself and your kids have nothing to say to them. They do. They owe your kids their life. Your parents' home is not a safe zone. Your mom isn't safe. You can let them tell you what you want, but I didn't tell anyone to stop loving your kids or acting like it. He did that, not me. You can believe I created this dagger, but I didn't do that. I stood up for our kids. I advocated and protected our children. I don't ever want to hear, I'm sorry, I killed your kid because I was stupid. That would kill me. These kids are my world, and I have to protect them from the evil of the world. I should not have to protect them from evil family. Our kids deserve the same love and attention the other kids get, nothing less. I'm not accepting I'm sorry from your mom, because she doesn't mean it, and she knew what she was doing. I made it very clear to not eat it around Celeste, because she doesn't understand. Way before that happened, she's evil and willing to risk your daughter's life just to get under my skin. You and your dad are no different if you are okay with her behavior. There's nothing wrong with me, and I'm not crazy. I just love my kids way too much. From the day I left, you never said I missed you before I said it. Something changed when I left. You may be happier alone, and that's fine. You can be alone. This pregnancy, you have failed to acknowledge it or to acknowledge how I'm feeling. The first trimester is the scariest and most dangerous, yet we can lose this baby at any point till delivery. I'm not going to be treated this way for having the balls to protect our family and kids. I should get a gold effing medal for handling it the way I did, because I had a lot of choice words I wanted to say to her and your dad for his stupidity. No one stands up to your mom and your dad for that. He's just as guilty by not doing anything. I have nothing to do with him stopped sharing memories of his grandkids. What does that have to do with me? They are effing with our kids' feelings, and that I'm not okay with. I am their mother, and I will protect them. I have enough to worry about with the world out there, and I'm not going to worry about family. I will just remove it. 5:13 hours. Shanann added, I also don't control what you do. If you want to go hang out with your parents today, by all means do so, but without us. Don't put it on me why you can't go. You are your own person. 7:26 hours. Chris replied to Shanann for the first time. These kids mean the world to me and always will. Yes, my mom totally screwed up in a huge way, more than a huge way. I don't know what I would have done if something happened to Cece. These kiddos are the light of my life, and seeing their sweet, incredible smiles and playfulness makes me smile every day. I'm sorry for the way I've been acting. It's just been in my head, and I haven't been right at all. 7:31 hours. Shanann responded with 2 messages to Chris. Yes, that I created this dagger between you and your dad, and that wasn't me. That was them. I protected our daughter from their stupidity. They created that, and you belong with them thinking otherwise. I didn't tell your dad to remove himself from the kid's life. I did and do not deserve to be treated the way you have. I defended our daughter. 7:48 hours. Chris replied to Shanann. Yes, you protected our daughter, and I thank you for that 1,000,000 times 1,000,000. I don't think they're innocent in any of this. They do want to be in the kid's life, and I'm not sure they even know how to right now. They should have swallowed whatever they needed to and came to Cece's birthday party and called her, and shouldn't have blocked all social media contact with them. I don't care what they do with us, just as long as they love and respect the kids. I'm not used to not having a relationship with my dad. I should have just called him before it got to this point where it got in my head. I didn't, and that's my fault. 8:03 hours. Shanann responded. Why should you beg them to be in their life? They pick up the phone and apologize for starters. They show up to her birthday, especially since we were an hour away. They did this. They make the effort. You blame me for this so-called dagger between you and him. F that. You are just like them. Believe what he tells you and move back home where you weren't appreciated when I met you. No one ever protected you from your mom, and someone should have before me. I'm done being the bad guy in all of this, especially when I had more balls to stand up for you a long time ago with them. My bad for thinking you deserve better. Not my kids are in the pig, and I'm done. 11:53 hours. Continuing with this conversation, Shanann told Chris, and while it's on my mind, if I'm in the wrong, that's one thing. But I'm not here, and you not standing up for us and the girls is not cool. You just make it so they feel like they did no wrong and brush it under the rug. I will never trust your parents alone with our kids ever. This is the week we started dating 8 years ago. They ruined everything special. I won't forgive you or them for that. I'm tired of it. I'm the one that takes care of you, not them. You making me feel like complete shit these last several weeks, especially this week, and I'm not okay with it. And I won't change my ways when it comes to our kids. And I always defend you, always. 11:56 hours. Shanann added, I'm not asking you to choose who to be with. I shouldn't have to ask you to choose right from wrong. You are not happy? Then you know where to go. Worst summer ever. 14:10 hours. Nicole searched Google for Watts and Shanann's Facebook accounts. 15:04 hours to 17:13 hours. Video and photographs were taken of the girls back on the trampolines at the Pavilion Park. August the 5th, 2018, 15:16 hours. Shanann asked Chris, "Are you wanting to go see just Mama tomorrow, or family too?" And replied, "I was hoping both. If not, that's okay too. I wanted to see Mama in the morning if possible. You wanted the girls to see her too, right?" Shanann responded thrice. "If both, then that's fine, but alone. If just Mama, we will go. They saw her twice, and they can go again. But I'm standing strong with your family. You can use the truck and see both. But I just need to know. I'm not going to be a reason you don't go see them. So if you do, you just go." 15:28 hours. Chris replied, "I know they would love to see Mama one more time. I bet Mama would love to see them too, since she does remember them. I don't want to leave anyone without a car here though either. Should I have someone pick me up at the nursing home so the girls can still see Mama?" In 2 messages, Shanann responded, "I'm not going to be where there's a chance we're going to run into your family. I'm not kidding, Christopher. I'm having a bad experience these last few days with my pregnancy, and I'm spotting. I'm not dealing with it. Have your parents pick you up when the kids go down tonight. Then, and do what you need to do." Have your parents pick you up when kids go down tonight, then, and do what you need to do. 15:33 hours. Chris concluded, "I want the kids to see Mama. I will make sure there was 0 chance anyone will see them." 20:28 hours. Shanann sent Chris a screenshot of a quote by Isaiah K. And I'm not even going to try to say that last name. And the quote reads, quote, "Husbands, stand up for your wife and protect her from the attacks that come from people close to you. Let your family and friends know that when it comes to your wife and marriage, there is a line they cannot cross. If you have to take sides, then always take your wife's side. From the day you said 'I do,' your wife displaces your parents, your friends, and siblings. Apart from God, your wife now occupies and assumes the privileged first place of honor in your life. Oftentimes, it requires that you lovingly stand up for your wife in front of your parents, especially our mother. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no mother, father, brother, sister, friend, or boss separate." 22:24 hours. 2 hours after Shanann wrote, "I don't know how you fell out of love with me in 5.5 weeks, or if this has been going on for a long time, but you don't plan another baby if you're not in love. Kids does not deserve a broken family. I left you. You couldn't take your hands off of me. You show up and I have to practically ask for a kiss in the airport." 22:34 hours. Shanann added, "Being away from you, it's not the help I miss because I can handle that. It was exhausting, but the school, that's not hard. But with school, that's not hard. I miss the smell of you, you touching me when I'm cooking, you touching me in bed, touching me, period. I missed holding you and snuggling with you. I missed eating with you, watching TV with you. I missed staring at you. I missed making love with you. I missed everything about you. I couldn't wait to touch you, hold you, kiss you, make love to you, smell you, and laugh with you. I couldn't wait to celebrate 8 years with you. If you're done and don't love me and don't want to work this out, not happy anymore, and only staying because of the kids, I need you to tell me. 2,300 hours. Shanann asked Chris, would you stay with me if we didn't have kids? 2,309 hours. Shanann asked Chris, I don't get it. You don't fall out of love in 5 weeks. Minutes later, she pondered. How can you sleep? Our marriage is crumbling in front of us, and you can sleep? Okay, we're going to stop part 51 there. And when we go into part 52, we will be starting on August the 6th. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, we would really appreciate a thumbs up if you feel so inclined. And until next, this is Unjustified.